I think we are live. What's up, everybody? This is Sonia Gomez coming to you live from Colorado. Super excited to be here with you on another bonus broadcast of Legalize It, Don't Criticize It, the place to be for cannabis and hemp CBD. Today, we're going to be interviewing a very special guest, a fellow Cali doctor of chiropractic out of Berkeley, California, who is specializing in creating high potency oils for the cannabis and hemp space. Cannot wait to introduce him to you here in just a moment. But before I do, for those of you who are popping on with us, go ahead and make sure that you tell us where you're tuning in from, what city are you in, what state are you in, and what burning questions do you have for our guest today. It is our mission at Legalize It, Don't Criticize It and medicalsecrets.com to ensure that you get the truth about cannabis, not just any old propaganda, but the actual truth from the pioneers who are pushing this industry forward, the entrepreneurs who are coming out of the cannabis closet and jumping from corporate to cannabis to ensure that not only the quality, but the access that you want and deserve is possible. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us say what's up to you. Welcome you to the show. As you're getting value from today's interview, make sure that you like and share. With your help, we've been able to impact over 27 million people's lives and want to continue to make that global impact. So as you're getting value from this, make sure that you like and share, tag 5 people that you know this is going to make a difference for. And again, whatever questions that you have, we will be answering questions throughout the interview today. Make sure that you type them into the chat here. And I'm so excited to welcome Tara. What's going on? We got Lauren in the house, Bobby from Missouri. How's it going? Daniel, nice to have you. We got Elwood, Indiana. We got Oklahoma's in the house. Maine is here. What's up, Sean? Ricky, good to see you. West Virginia's in the house. We got Wyoming, Bob Hampton. What's going on? Hi, Ronnie. What's up, Texas? Hi, Tara. Thanks for the shout out. What's up, Nathan? Happy to see you here. We got Mr. Malone in the house. Hi, Vicky. What's going on from North Carolina? We got Debbie in the house. Sadi, how you doing? Thanks for being here with us. Alabama's here. We got Florida. Dang, we got people coming in from all over. Samantha, thanks so much for being here, you guys, and New Mexico as well. So, we got a Kiwi and also here. What's going on, Brendan? Thanks for joining us today, you guys. I'm so excited to be here again. This is such an honor for us. Make sure that you give a nice big Legalize It, Don't Criticize It welcome to our guest and doctor today, Dr. Bao Lee. What's going on, Dr. Bao? How are you?
Hey, Sonia, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for being here today. It means so much to me to be able to pick your brain about what you're doing in the industry.
Thanks for having us here from California, representing Northern California here in the Bay Area.
What up, Bay Area? I'm also a Bay Area girl, so this is close to home for me. I've gotten to know you through text, and I know a little bit about the work that you're doing over there in NorCal. But for those of us who are just getting to know you, why don't you just take a second to introduce yourself? Who are you? What are you doing in the industry? Where are you from? Let us know who you are.
Sure. Well, starting out with, we're obviously in the Bay Area. Our laboratory and manufacturing business here is in Berkeley, California. Background is very simple. Normal guy going to college, picking a career, going to med school, chiropractic school, and then start practicing. My personal reason why I'm in this industry is I have 2 boys, and they're 9 and 10 this year. And my youngest son was diagnosed with autism at age 14 months. So game changer for us to understand having a special needs child and understanding what that really means moving forward as a parent and a caregiver. He started suffering night terrors when he was about 2 years old, and that ripped my heart out, seeing that he was not being able to get a full night's rest of sleep, waking up incoherent 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and not being able to get him down to sleep as fast as we wanted to. Then that also elicited grand mal seizures. So you have this little child that's having, obviously a special needs condition and going through night terrors and seizures. From that point, we try pretty much everything to alleviate some of those issues that he's having. Then in about 2011, I Googled alternative healthcare for autistic children, and I found a little video about CBD. Yay! So reading about it, learning about it, what it does, how it helps, with your inflammatory processes, anxiety processes. I said, what do I have to lose as a parent? So I went out and got my medical card and started buying products and just really home remedying my son.
Wow.
So cut the long story short, I found out a certain ratio of high CBD to very low THC helped him sleep longer and have more restful sleep. And then eventually put him on a supplement regimen every day. And his seizures start to be less and less, and got him off of certain seizure medicines like Keppra. So the milestone for me at that point as a parent was it actually helped him. And it changed our lives, it changed his lives. Why did I decide to give up practice and stable income and as a chiropractor was in California during that time, there wasn't any legalization as in testing and pesticidal and standards. So I didn't know what I was giving my son was tested for pesticides or antimicrobials or anything that would actually harm him instead of helping him. Then that led me to ask questions, hundreds of questions. Why? Why isn't this tested? Why am I buying tinctures and medicine from dispensaries here in California that they weren't testing the products? Hence my journey to how to extract. So I asked myself, how do I extract my own cannabis? So I looked into nutraceutical. So if you look at nutraceutical market like essential oils, right? You have peppermint, you have lavender. They're plants. They're plant-based oils. And I found that the CO2 extraction at the time in California was what they called non-volatile. Yep. So at the non-volatile, less risk to actually start a company compared to volatile extraction processes. And I went out to Berkeley and filled application and actually worked together with the mayor, Tom Bates, what the time was the Berkeley, Mayor of Berkeley, the fire department, the building department, and really shared information with them that how can we do this safely together as a collaboration from an operator like myself and the city. So it took me about a year and a half to kind of get them to the point where they allowed me to apply for one of the first non-volatile CO2 extraction, cannabis CO2 extraction licenses in the city of Berkeley. And we started our journey in November 2015. So why that journey took me to where the space where I am now is try to find ways to make oils or extraction from the cannabis plant to make high CBD and also THC products, and sharing it with our community here in California and how we can help other families that want to learn, because information is everything.
Yeah.
As a parent, trying to find a way to help my son get through the night terrors and seizures, it was very humbling to be able to do this here as now a profession. So it's been a great journey.
I'm like over here on the verge of tears. I was not expecting that. I'll just tell you. I was fully not expecting that. I'm a mother of 4. I get to co-parent with, my husband and I have 3 step kids. And so just watching, first of all, feeling the weight of the responsibility of being a parent of healthy children is enough in itself, let alone getting the news that you now have, I hate to say special needs, but now you have a child that has extra considerations as a parent. I mean, every child is special, right? But there's something very particular that happens with the parent when this, on how do we nurture and care for our child in a way that's going to help them become a healthy, happy, thriving human being. Right. And it's such an awesome responsibility. We abuse that word awesome, but it's truly this awesome responsibility that we have. And this by any means necessary sort of fight or flight thing kicks in when we see that our child is somehow, quote unquote, compromised. So that's really fascinating that you jumped from chiropractic into cannabis. First of all, congratulations for following your instinct and giving into the news that this is actually a viable solution. So many parents are so afraid to take matters into their own hands because they're concerned of the stigma, or what will my community or my church think, what will my other family members think, and so they hesitate to follow their natural instinct to serve the well-being of their child. So I'm just so impressed by that. I can't tell you how many parents I have to talk through or talk off the ledge, when they're trying to make that decision. Is this a viable, safe option for me and my family? So number one, totally floored, practically speechless by that story.
Well, I also want to add a few more comments, is that the journey hasn't been smooth at all. I mean, being scrutinized as, well, Val, why are you doing this? Why are you going to be a pot doc? Or why are you going to do, why are you going to promote, other children to take weed? I'm like, well, first of all, let's take that stigma out of that, right?
Yeah.
Right? So if it didn't help my son, if I didn't do the research, if I didn't do asking hundreds of dispensary owners what their thoughts about does this work or not, right? I mean, until you're in that position, until you're in like a mother or father or guardian or brother and sister, until you see that child or that adult have some relief of just the stresses that other conditions, doesn't have to be autism, it could be anything, but if you understand how to medicate responsibly, and finding the source of that medicine is kind of the step one, is can you trust the source? We have to raise the bar of legalization. We have to raise the bar of awareness, because I'm just one father. I'm just one operator here, but there are thousands, there are hundreds of thousands of families that need this opportunity to learn. I took it to the next level because of my training and seeing my son suffer every single night, having grandma sleep every single night, and feeling helpless, like literally crying every night to God, how do I just get Andrew to sleep through the night? I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to say, but that was all I wanted to ask God for, that opportunities for my son to heal within. But having the opportunity to take a plant, understand the chemicals that come out of the plant, and understand what those chemicals do to your endocrinology system, and then have the understanding and the training to actually make it safely and then administer that's been just a blessing to be here in California, to be able to work with local city staff, local government here, fire departments, and go, hey, Val, we trust you enough for you to have a license on the wall to do this every single day, and have 45 people doing it with you on one airplane or one boat. I'm just driving the boat and the airplane. Because of my story, why we do things, we've had hundreds of tours, we have hundreds of people coming in here understanding that, there is a company to extract cannabis legally and safely, and then sell it for revenue and educate other brands that need the source material. So the journey, just starting here in California, Colorado's where you're from, is, you guys have kind of been a little ahead of the game for us. But the demand and the type of research, the type of collaboration here is just, ever since 2018, has been just like inundated with just amazing opportunities here.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to dive further into this stuff, because what you're saying is so impactful. And I think a lot of people who are in states where it's not necessarily legalized feel really restricted on what they can do, certainly are restricted on what they can have access to. So you're absolutely right. Being in a legalized state gives us quite a bit of great fortune that we get to explore and collaborate with other industry professionals and really unearthing this information that will allow us to make educated, empowered decisions on behalf of our families, whether it's down the professional line of things and starting a business, or just making basic everyday preventative medicine decisions, or even treatment-based decisions for our families. So I can understand that the that the why behind your business is extremely attractive, because you're absolutely right. There's hundreds of thousands of families all around the world, some of which are called medical refugees, people who have completely uprooted themselves to move into Colorado or other legal states where they can have safe access, and are really honing in and looking for people who are producing quality, consistent quality products to serve specific ailments or prevent specific diseases. So let me dive. I just want to ask you this. What exactly, so you were a doctor of chiropractic before, running your own practice in the Bay Area,
Yes.
right? Okay. And then you made the switch into cannabis after finding this discovery with your son. And for those of you who are just tuning in with us, this is Dr. Bao Li. He is a cannapreneur in Berkeley, California. He made the corporate to cannabis jump after discovering that his son was diagnosed with autism and just wanting to started to have grand mal seizures, and wanted to get him some relief from the seizures, but also from the night terrors, which was preventing him from having a good night's sleep. We're going to be diving into how he got into his business, what his business is doing, and where you can find him here in just a few minutes. But if you want more notifications when we're doing interviews just like this one with change makers like Dr. Bao Li, please click the link in the description and I will send you a private message to make sure that you know when we are going live. So why don't you tell us a little bit and make sure that you elaborate. Tell us what you are doing specifically and what your main focus is with your business now in the cannabis space.
Sure. So in California, now with the 2018 legislation, you have to have a license from local municipalities to do whatever kind of business you want to do, and also through the state. So we elected to stay focused on manufacturing and extraction. So manufacturing and extraction is really basic. We basically have a permit to buy what we call biomass or cannabis plants, whether it's CBD or THC derivative species or strains. And then we basically use CO2 or non-volatile extraction methods to extract oils that are found in the plant into an ingredient-based product that we call basically THC oil or CBD oil. How we do that is basically chemistry and filtration. So basically on the supply chain that we have, we deal with a lot of cultivators to make sure that we go to their farm, we qualify their biomass or plant material they want to sell us, and then basically get it tested from a third-party lab. And after testing is compliant with what they call here is Category 1 or Category 2 pesticide testings in the state of California, then it's considered a passing product that now we can purchase as a company and then make through our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, into a final product. So why do we do all that? Because when I was a consumer trying to buy oil for my son, there wasn't a label that said lab tested. It wasn't a company that said, well, here are your lab results. It was basically anyone can do this type of extraction method and then sell it to the dispensaries, and you as a consumer, you and I as a consumer, walk in there and buy it. But then, as a
how do you know what's in it?
They don't know what's inside of it.
Yeah.
So our whole, I guess, messaging to why we stayed into this lane is because I believe that it's kind of like this. If you're a gold miner, right, you go pan some gold, I want to sell you the shovel and the pan.
Yeah.
Because then you can go do as much as you want with it. And then guess what? When the pan leaks, you got to buy another pan. When the shovel breaks, you got to come and buy a shovel. We here at BAS Research do not make our own products. We don't want to compete against the vape pen companies that buy oils from us, ingredients from us, the pill manufacturers, the tincture manufacturers, the edible lines. We want to support them as the trusted and safe facility that they can always come here and make sure that we've tested that oil or that end product to make sure it's compliant and safe. The last thing I want to share about is that when I usually meet with clients here at Berkeley, I share them is that I basically take ingredients to make my son's tinctures on a weekly basis, straight fresh from our lab.
Wow.
I can't pick and choose which oil to sell you or give to my son. So our standards is if it's as good as for Andrew, my son, it will be definitely as good for our clients. And that's pretty much our mission here, is to make sure that all of the oil, anything that we sell, is fully tested, fully compliant, and safe.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. Kid friendly, Papa approved.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. And I see a display case behind you. Are those some of the products that you're making?
So a couple of the brands that we have that under our management is definitely something to put on a display case. We're very proud of them. So on the top shelf, there's a few vape pen brands. One is called Eel River Organics. Great story. They're cultivators in the Mendocino, Humboldt area. Yeah. They actually have very, very clean organic material, which they give to us. We extract it and we help them formulate and put it into their vape pen carts. They actually won a few awards for the Emerald Cup here in California.
Nice.
And then we have a brand called Aya, very, very nice organic from Sonoma. They really want to use natural terpenes and natural oils that we provide for them. And then there's a few other companies called SoCo. They're more of that really trendy millennial kind of company from LA, really nice products and messaging. Then you have Dr. Kirtland Therapeutics. Their brands are amazing. I use the pain cream every day for my elbow. But really smart company, understanding about clinical appearance. You have a natural pain cream, skin cream. They actually have a PMS cream for cramps and sleep. So those are kind of, and then there's Dr. Raw Organics, great messaging from San Diego. Tinctures, 100% organic, with our, safe, reliable oils, and just, so I think that the messaging is, when you build something that is safe and tested and compliant, instead of these companies going out there doing their own extraction, spending millions of dollars building the infrastructure, I invite them to come here. We show them our facility, introduce them to our chief science officer, show them our labs, show them how we extract, show them transparency, because that's how companies should be run, especially in the cannabis industry. Transparency, knowing what you're getting, where you're getting it from, and having that piece of paper that says that it's been tested and it's compliant.
So I know, high five on that, by the way. The brands are beautiful and the work you're doing is amazing. I can't wait to see more manufacturing companies. A lot of them claim, full transparency, but then when you go and you want to do a tour or an interview, they're like, well, you can't see behind curtain number 1, but we can check out 2, 3, and 4. So there's always some aspect of it that they don't fully want to divulge or share. So I love the idea of full transparency so that the consumer knows exactly what they're getting, because let's face it, if you are managing, and go ahead and post here, you guys, for those of you who are tuned in, if you are managing some sort of life-altering illness, whether it's chronic pain, PMS, anything where you're not feeling like 100% and cannabis is helping you with, go ahead and post it in the comments. We want to know about it. And if you have any questions, let us know by posting in the comment section, and we will answer your questions here in just a moment. Now, I'm representing a collective audience, people from all over the world who may or may not have safe access to products with THC in it, but they are definitely passionate about it and are on the crusade. They want to know what they can do to help. And I heard you mention a couple of times now that you're working with both with government, both on the city level, but also on the state level, and that you yourself have had to do a pretty deep dive to feel educated, informed, and empowered to communicate on behalf of what you want and what you need for your life and for your business. What is some advice that you can give people who are in not legal states or countries? How can they represent this to their government and have a voice that's heard?
I think that there's two things I would recommend. One, more of that passion piece that we have, right? We're all trying to get through this whole pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, canna bundle of is it safe? Is it not safe? You know, and then the other aspect is purely economical, right? You cannot look at what the growth cycle of cannabis companies are happening across the world. Mm-hmm. So I'll deal with the passion piece first. Number one, unfortunately, you can travel to certain states here in the United States, like Nevada, and try it. I mean, as a parent, if you're or a parent or a patient or person that's suffering that wants to try cannabis or CBD or whatever you want to call it, a ratio of each, my advice is to really start slow, really micro dosing, understanding what it does. Talk to companies, talk to researchers, and say, what are the options? But at the end of the day, because it's elusive in the sense where not every state is pro cannabis, unfortunately, if it was my son and I lived in a different state, I would be here in California the next day. If I knew that someone I trusted or someone that can be trusted gave me the right advice. The problem, the fine line between what I can say on camera right now as a licensed chiropractor is very narrow, correct? Yeah. But what I can share for you, my personal experience as a father of an autistic child that went through this journey to come to cannabis, read everything you have, make the forms, call the blogs, people that are not trying to sell you something and share your experience, which I'm trying to do. That's the purest thing I can recommend people to understand, right? Why are we on this interview right now? Just sharing the experience, not trying to sell a product, not trying to sell a brand. It's sharing as a concerned parent to me that now I could use media, now I could use outlets, now I could use governments to say, hey, we've proven, number one, we've proven concept, we start a facility, we're making money, we're hiring people, we're changing the world. Okay, now the second factor is this. Economically, if any city government wants to, or state government wants to call me and come visit our facility, I can show you my P&L, I can show you my profit margin, I can show you how much taxes I paid to Berkeley. It is an amazing opportunity for entrepreneurs out there to come to cannabis and learn from the first movers, right? Yeah. Because we learned a lot from Colorado. Don't get me wrong. I did my research in Colorado, Oregon, Arizona, and Washington before we put in millions of dollars here because it's already done. Why change what's not broken? So when you come to California and you visit facilities like this, you realize, how do you take that back as a government? It's if you have safety protocols, if you have regulations, what to grow, where to grow, what to extract, how to extract, you're giving the opportunity for infrastructures to build economically that makes it normal and safe. Just because it's not normal and safe in your state doesn't mean it's not normal and safe here, because we're proving the fact it is. California has 40 million people. And I would probably say 25% of those people are getting high every day, which is a great thing. It's not a bad thing to get high. Now, out of that statement, what percentage of us are using it for medical conditions? We don't know because no one talks about it. And it's unfortunate, right? So the takeaway to that answer is, number one, there's always organizations like us, the company like us that wants to share. Please send the emails, please send the questions. I love to share. Secondly, as a business, it's huge. It's the fastest growing industry that I know of in California in a long time.
Well, I think that that's true. I think that that's true globally as well. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in and you're getting value from this interview, make sure that you like and share this content. Tag 5 people that you know this will make a difference for. Again, it's our mission to make sure that you get connected with the truth about cannabis and get to hear directly from the cannabineurs who are pushing the movement forward. If you want to get notifications and discounts on products, make sure that you click the link inside of the description. And I just want to ask Dr. Bao, did you have a lot of family support when you were getting started? I mean, you know, it's a pretty substantial investment to go directly into becoming a licensed cannabis company, less for hemp, but once you start to incorporate the THC aspect of it, you know, the licensing part of it can get really costly. emotionally draining. I mean, all of these different things start happening once you enter into the cannabis and cannabis space, and not just serving hemp. So what did it look like for your family support? Did you, and forgive me for saying so, but for people of the Asian friends that I have, or people of Asian descent that I know
where you're going.
Extremely traditional.
Yeah.
They do not, they want you to be a financier or a doctor, right? They want you to have a C-level executive job, and they don't necessarily want to see you associated with what could otherwise be considered a negative industry. So what did the family support look like when you were like, hey guys, I'm going into the cannabis space, jump in or not?
Well, it's funny. You hit it all out on the nose, right? When I was growing up, it was all about studying, career, tradition. I'm Vietnamese, right? So, very, very straight and narrow. I've actually never medicated with cannabis to get high. I've medicated with CBD, but to relax. But it's, that's my own personal preference. But so when I started this journey, the only person that knew in my family was my wife.
Wow.
Other than that, I have 4 sisters. I'm the youngest of 4. My parents were immigrants here from Vietnam in 1975. So very conservative family. So let's put it this way. I didn't even tell my mom and dad that we invested into the building. We invested $4 million in the lab. We spent $8 million on equipment into probably a year and a half later.
Oh my God.
My biggest thing was, okay, how do I explain to my parents that now I'm surrounded by cannabis and I smell of it every day? And the funniest thing is that we didn't even tell, I didn't even tell my dad I was giving it to my son for 4 years prior to opening up a cannabis extraction facility. So yes, wow. So I'm actually appreciative you brought this up, because this has to change, right?
Yeah.
If the closed-mindedness, the not knowing the traditional stuff that's very conservative in a lot of Asian communities and families, it might help a child, it might help an adult, it might help you. So understanding that as an Asian male and building this infrastructure and the why, I'm glad you brought that up. Just tradition does matter, right? And how do we break down those walls? It's these moments. It's like, well, if he can do it, then maybe it's okay, right?
Yeah.
And who do you not trust more than an ethically, morally a trained professional healthcare business to actually help patients with what I know through chiropractic? And now I decided to come to cannabis and do exactly the same thing, building the why in our company, building the infrastructure of telling the truth all the time, because ethically we have to. And now, on a moral and medical aspect is one thing, but a permit and legal aspect is a lot worse. So there's no cutting corners, there's no selling on the back door, everything has to be papered up. And you're right. It's a lot of those social and cultural hiccups that we have that hopefully companies like BAS Research and what you're doing can get that message across, that it's time for change.
I 100% agree. And I think it's so funny that, you didn't tell your parents for that, for that amount of time, both on the dose side and on the investment side. Like, I also know that my Asian friends are extremely close, especially the men. Like, you guys don't get away with nothing when it comes to your mom. When it comes
that out to me.
when it comes to the women in your family, I mean, it's a pretty intense relationship, and it's very similar with mine. I'm Greek and Argentinian. Like, we don't get away with anything, and I'm the oldest. Oh my God, it gets real really fast. And I think that's really interesting that you said, in this day and age, we're living in a time where more and more our children feel as if they have to keep secrets from us because of their interests, because of their natural tendencies. I mean, look at the homosexual community, for instance, or they're having to completely stifle who they are and pretend that they're something that they're not in order to fit in and be and feel accepted by the ones who are supposed to love them the most. So I think that you're absolutely right. We have to continue to work on dissolving the stigma so that there can be safety and security in families again, that people can go to church and be proud about what they do, that they can serve their community and be proud about what they do and what they've learned and how they're fixing real issues that could otherwise be affecting and is a matter of fact affecting hundreds of thousands of families around the world. So good for you, first of all, and second of all, that's hilarious.
Well, don't get me wrong though. I mean, traditionally, everyone needs to go see their primary physician, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you feel sick, if there's something wrong with your system, you get the lab test, you go out, do what you need to do. I'm not promoting not to do that. What I'm saying is that by having options of what my son went through is there wasn't solutions in the normal pharmaceutical medicine aspect, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I can name a whole bunch of conditions that cannabis, quote unquote, has seemed to help anecdotally, which is, autism, Asperger's, PTSD, pain, chronic pain, acute pain. So any one of those categories, I think all of us know someone that has one of those categories. So why not educate everyone what cannabis can do or can't do? Because someone knows someone that has a pain or ailment out there. So why is it that not a mainstream conversation?
Yeah. And it's definitely becoming mainstream. And I know that you are quickly rising to the top, being the creme de la creme, considered to be one of the leaders in the field, especially with the position that you're taking with transparency and quality. Why don't you share with us 3 tips that you would recommend to somebody who is just starting into this space or is maybe already on the journey of having a successful cannabis business? What are 3 tips that you can offer them that helped you get to where you are?
I'm very fortunate that I've had a lot of mentors in my life. One is being my dad. My dad's my hero. So it's not very hard to say that having, your why, like what is your why, right? I mean, that's what drives you every day to wake up in the morning, do what you need to do is what is your why? What is the reason why you want to choose specifically to be in this cannabis space and own it every day. Own your why and make sure that that's the first thing you think about in the morning when you wake up and the last thing you think about when you go to bed. Secondly is you got to master your craft. I mean, craft meaning if you want to be a cultivator, learn how to cultivate from the best people that know how to cultivate. You want to do extraction, talk to guys like us. You want to be product development, there's tons of companies out there that are willing to help and understand, what it takes to make a brand. And when I say a brand, an edible, a pill, or a tincture, or a vape pen. And lastly, you got to have a strong team, right? Because you can't do it by yourself in any company or any sector of any business. So why is very top of my list, understanding your craft. And if you don't have an idea, look for the people that do and hire them. Really simple. And then lastly, your strong team. Without the strong team, you can't wear all the hats and you can't scale.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Love that. Great advice. I heard you say really getting close to your why. That is the thing that you got. I think there's a really common misconception that the cannabis industry is easy and that as cannapreneurs, we're just kicking back and testing all the strains that are out there. When that's actually not the case. We work in some cases, I think, twice as hard as other business owners because we're not only fighting the stigma, but we are writing the rules as we go, creating the path that we're traveling down in order to see this legalized, in order to have our patients have safe access, in order to empower other entrepreneurs who are entering in this space to create a standard of operation when it comes to being in this space. We're up against decades of negative stigma here, where generations of folks have been miseducated and misinformed around this plant. And now, as we're pioneering and pushing this forward, we really have to look at how we show up for the success that we want or that we hear about. So let me ask you this, when there's so many newbies, I mean, it seems like every day I'm talking to a new client or a new group of folks who's coming into this space. When there's so many newbies jumping into the industry, how do you guys stay relevant? How do you guys set yourselves apart?
You know, I wasn't going to share this because I'm doing a couple of panels discussions. I'm doing CBD Expo in September in Anaheim. I'm doing New West Summit in Oakland. I'm doing MJ BizCon. Any of you listeners out there, if you want to learn very, very quickly how serious the industry is, you got to go to the MJ BizCon in Vegas in November, because I've gone for the past 6 years, first as a attendee, you know, just wide-eyed and kind of trying to learn, and now I'm being invited to, you know, speak on the panels and do all that stuff. So I think what I'm trying to share is this, right? You really need to understand that it's hard. It's very, very difficult to start something in the cannabis industry. It's legislation, regulation. I mean, you're even restricted on banking, right? So banking's always going to be a problem. And you're restricted on where you can actually open up your company. From state to every city has their different, what they call green zone or approved area to start your business. So I think that understanding that the journey is every day. You always got to fight for being compliant. You got to make sure that you're who you hire, who your managers are. I mean, every day it's a privilege and an honor, but also it's a huge responsibility. Like every day that we turn on, open the doors and close the doors, anything can happen that can shut us down. And that's a very scary feeling to have as a investor and also someone that is in this industry, right? So to me, I think that the biggest thing is understanding what your limitations are from every single city and understanding your regulation. Hire consultants and lobbyists to help you fight the legal battle, because it's still a legal battle.
That it is. And I have a lot of people tuning in here who are like, what can I do? What can I do? Let the people choose their own medication. So you know that is the sentiment that they share. And I'm really excited to see you at MJ BizCon. I'll be out there too. And I have a few of my clients as well who will have booths and features out there. I'll be running around with my camera. So maybe I'll catch you when you're coming off stage. From the B2B perspective, can you share with me any stories or transformations that you've witnessed or worked with that stand out to you?
So for business to business, it's kind of weird, because in any other industry, you don't have a restriction of who you can sell to, and you know, and like if you are selling to a food chain or you know, a regular 7-Eleven or Starbucks, like there's hundreds of Starbucks and there's hundreds of 7-Eleven. So if you're a product trying to get into their shelves, there's not much restriction. In cannabis, it's completely restrictive. And when it's restrictive, you have to understand there's probably, if you're, okay, let's do your vape pen company. You want to sell your product to a vape pen company. Let's say you're trying to go into a dispensary. Well, they already have their 15 or 20 brands that they're already selling, because you know it's a very large industry for the vape pen market to try to sell and get into. And then basically what you're trying to do is what makes you different? You know, is it price point? Is it potency? Is it like freebies? I mean, I've heard really, really bad horror stories where people come into the market thinking that they're going to be able to penetrate the market. I think the biggest advice I have for B2B is, if you think you have enough money for marketing and for brand ambassadoring and social media, triple that budget, because you're going to need it. Because if you don't go out there and hit the stores hard and tell people your message and your branding, you won't be able to penetrate a very tight-knit market the way it is now. There's a lot of big companies spending millions of dollars a year, millions a year. Just like any large company in any industry, it's unfortunate that in this space now, there are a lot of huge companies that are out to get the small companies. And the only way you can become a small company, you have to scale fast, and you have to invest your money in the right sectors of the business to be able to utilize social media and people that want to buy the product, compared to a Nike or Apple or whatever name brand. You're the new up and comer. Well, how do other people do it? It's a lot of work.
Yep. So one of the things I heard you say when you're how to stay relevant and when so many other people are coming in, is really having a powerful team behind you, making sure that you stay plugged in and being relevant by investing in yourself and in your business and getting your name and your brand out there through social media influencers and organic posting. And that's a way to bring awareness to who you are, what you're about, why you do what you do, and the benefits of working with or alongside your company.
Another tip is that a lot of people are in the cannabis industry, or people that are out there listening, is that a lot of people are doing like ratios, right? It's not just high THC and you smoke a joint or you smoke flower and you're gonna get medicated very quickly. It's now infusing with CBD, because then CBD is going to get in there that more holistic feeling. Instead of always a head high or a full body high, you're ratioing your experience, so it's more pleasurable. It's not how fast can I get high, it's more how long can I enjoy this experience to alleviate pain or alleviate stress or anxiety, right? So a lot of companies that are hiring us now are formulating new products. So that, I think that's the key thing. It's formulating, understanding between additives, what can be medicated with cannabis or added to cannabis, what ratios, and then when you try to be different outside the box thinking, is it reproducible every single time? So as an ingredient company, that is my job, or our job here at BAS Research, is to make sure that when you order that ingredient that's been formulated by XYZ ratios, we can reproduce that every single time so that the experience is the same every single time.
Yeah, consistency is a huge complaint inside of the industry. Where you buy something once, it works, you buy it again, it doesn't work the same. And it's not just about tolerance, it's really about the effect. And one of the things that I love about that Colorado did, and we were talking about this earlier, was the transparency and labeling. So right. This is like everything that's inside of my product, right. Including like ratios, including ratios of CBD to THC. It'll also list any other active cannabinoids that are in here, terpenes and it also gives me somewhat of an effect diagram to go off of, all on this tiny, tiny bottle. It shows me, it gives me so much information that if I was a first-time user, I would feel really empowered and a lot safer because of what was listed on the bottle. So I think that that's a really unique thing that the industry is starting to adopt. And I know that your products, because you're at the business's discretion, you're making all different types of products for all different types of people, which is why you and your product and business is relevant for everybody, because you can create anything that the entrepreneur dreams up, right?
Right. I think that the biggest model of how we could help people that are listening here is if people that were using it now or are going to use it now, if the adverse effects or the side effects were that extreme, I don't think you and I would be sitting here right now. So understanding that there are, different types of operators, doctors, lawyers, scientists, normal people off the street starting in cannabis, because if it didn't work, we wouldn't be able to be allowed to do what we do now, B2B or B2C or even L2L, license to license. So I think that more and more of these, interviews and news articles and all that stuff going out to the masses is that just pick one thing and pick one question and then go out there and find the answer, because now there are other companies and platforms like this to guide you to the right products or information or experiences, rather than now it's just weed, pot, and just making people high all the time. We've grown up in this industry to a point where now it's like My mom uses it. The first time my dad, she has a really bad low back pain and he broke his knee, but I put cream on it and, it kind of helped a little bit. I said, Dad, you got to take this high CBD vape pen. He goes, I don't smoke. I said, this is not smoke. It's vaporizing the oil. So of course I gave it to him, took a little puff of it. Literally the next morning he goes, do you have more? I was like, why? What happened? He goes, I slept through the night. My back pain, was not as bad when I woke up. Great job, son. That one experience of having my dad, 82 years old, try a CBD vape pen, and the next morning he called me to say that I did a good job. I don't know what else to tell you.
Throw in the towel. We won.
Pretty much.
Our hero. Our hero thinks we're awesome. So let me ask you this: is there a life lesson quote that you picked up from your dad or from a hero of yours along the way that keeps you grounded in your mission or keeps you on track? Something that you share with folks to bring inspiration?
Every single day, I say this 3 or 4 times a day. I say, do one thing and do it well. That's it. Do one thing, stick to what you know, stick what you're trying to do, and do it well. And I tell that to everyone that I talk to. Because everyone's like, well, why don't you do your own products? Why don't you grow? I said, well, why do I have to do all that? We love what we do here. And we do one thing and do it well.
Well, I can't wait to try some of the stuff that you have your oils in. I'm an avid tester of products, and I love to connect my community with the highest quality products that are on the marketplace. So when I meet you at MJ BizCon, I'll look forward to testing and trying out some of the stuff that you're creating, maybe even consider white labeling myself, since you are, kind of an emerging badass in the industry. All right. Well, why don't you tell everybody, Dr. Bao, where they can find you? And for those of you who are interested, check out the comments. We'll be posting the links for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram inside of the chat here. But just so everyone can hear it from you, to where can they find you? Sure.
Our website is www.basresearch.com. And we have an email that says info@bas.com. Those are 2 ways you can find us.
So check them out at www.basresearch.com.
Yes.
And also check them out at info@bas.com.
Yeah, that's our email address. You can send emails to that address and we'll respond.
Yeah, if you have specific questions or you're considering getting in the industry, you want to start your own product line, this would be a really great resource for you guys to check out and get in touch with them. They're out of Berkeley, California. If you are into hemp, you'll be able to distribute across the United States. If you want THC in the product, it'll be state to state. You'll have to open up each brand in each state. Dr. Bao, I'm so grateful for you and the work that you're doing here. Thank you for setting a standard and contributing to the positive projection that is happening with this industry right now. It means so much. My husband and I have a collective 25 years in this space and have seen literally everything happen all the way from seed to sale. And it means a lot to see people who are entering into this space really taking quality into consideration, and just hearing your story of being a father and managing your son's autism and having success with that is so transformative. So can't wait to meet you at MJ BizCon, and thanks so much for joining us on today's interview. Any last words?
Thanks for having us. Last words, keep an open mind. This is not a cure-all, heal-all, but if you find the right ratio, if you find the right dosing, if you find the right supply chain, it's a game changer. So good luck out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. This was another bonus broadcast of Legalize It, Don't Criticize It, the place to be for cannabis and hemp CBD. I'll see you today on our normally scheduled broadcast, 4:20 Mountain Time for Token Tuesday, where we'll be diving into the King Louis XIII strain. And Thanks so much for being a part of this amazing community. When you got value from this video, make sure that you like and share, tag 5 people that you know it'll make a difference to. And if you want to get more notifications when we're going live and discounts on products that we are reviewing and offering, make sure that you click the link inside of the description. I'm your host, Sonia Gomez, and I'll see you on our next show. Bye, guys.